Hey everyone, and welcome back or welcome to the channel. We have been living with this 2026 Lexus NX350h F Sport for the week. With it being a hybrid, it's been fuel efficient. It's been great, averaging close to 38.5 miles per gallon throughout the last 6 days. And now it is time to officially do a fuel economy test on the highway to see what you can possibly receive here in the real world. Going over the numbers for this model, you're going to receive a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine and dual electric motors, giving you that hybrid powertrain, producing a total of 240 horsepower. With our model having all-wheel drive, you're going to receive right around 41 miles per gallon in the city and 37 miles per gallon on the highway. With the NX350h, you are going to have a fuel tank capacity of around 14.5 gallons, so if you're averaging around 39 miles per gallon based off of what is shown on paper, you're going to receive just over 550 miles on a full tank. That is not bad. So now to go over the guidelines for this test, for those of you who are new here. We stick with factory requirements, which means for the Lexus NX350h, Lexus does recommend using premium fuel out of this 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. That's a bit of a surprise. I was stunned to see that. So at the pump, we will be paying a lot here. We're going to go to Shell using 93 octane. Now on the highway, we'll be traveling 100 miles, 50 miles down, 50 miles back, north and south to get a fair comparison. We're going to be traveling at highway speeds between 65 and 70 miles an hour using adaptive cruise control. And then the last guideline is going to be the drive mode. Obviously, we could hypermile this if we really wanted to and stay in eco. But for every test, we have just done normal mode. And we're going to see what the Lexus NX350h can offer on a highway road trip. So let's get this test started. All right, so we're ready to set off on this trip with the Lexus NX350h, just topped off with fuel. I'm now on the highway, ready to begin this 100-mile round trip. I will interject at times to talk about the adaptive cruise control, the lane centering, the interior insulation. That's pretty important here with this vehicle having large tires. And obviously taking a look at the fuel economy when we get to the 25-mile mark, halfway point, and the 75-mile mark as well. So I'm looking forward to this. This crossover has been comfortable. It's been relatively quiet in the city and suburbs, but let's see about that highway. Also, I want to go over the adaptive cruise control, lane centering, and more importantly, the pre-collision braking for this vehicle. It's a bit interesting. Alright, so I think we've been traveling long enough to test out the handy-dandy decibel meter. Now, comparing this to other vehicles that we have tested, I'm doing this a little later in the drive, and I'm noticing that this particular tarmac is a bit louder. I tested this out a couple miles back, and I was getting 68 decibels, which is below the Acura ADX, below the Tremor, and the 4Runner that we had recently featured. But down here on this particular pavement, which is loud, and we have large tires, we're going to be looking at right around 69 decibels, which I really can't complain there. Let's close the shade and see if we can get just a little bit more of a softer and quieter cabin. Yeah, I'm not really getting much better there. It's 70.5 decibels, which is a little too loud for the Lexus NX, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. Further back, it was quieter at 68.2, and when I did test it out, it was just below that with the shade closed. So even though on camera it seems a little louder than the Acura ADX and even the Tremor, it's not. It's just this horrible pavement, which I didn't realize went on this long. I thought it was going to change up and get softer and quieter, but that isn't the case. But I gotta say, for city and suburban driving though, the interior is very isolating. Now, in regards to the adaptive cruise control, the lane centering, and even the pre-collision braking, it's all pretty smooth here. Even the lane centering, as I'm taking this corner, very hands-off, and it's not overcorrective. So it's not overcorrecting in its lane, I like that. And also with the adaptive cruise control, this is another thing I like. I'm always keen and focused on this. If someone cuts in front of you, yes, it does adapt to that, and it will slow down. But it doesn't lag behind and then aggressively accelerate, getting you forward. That helps out with the fuel economy I've noticed with these vehicles. The Acura ADX was the opposite of that. And then also with that follow distance meter, which also helps out with your adaptive cruise control, it then also functions for your pre-collision braking. And one thing I have noticed here is that the pre-collision braking doesn't beep at you. It's not like a Volkswagen. But it will brake for you in stop-and-go traffic in some ways. Not fully, so it's not like a one-pedal drive. And I'm not saying that you would use it in that way. But the braking is rather aggressive. It feels like regen braking, and I don't know. I've had to turn it off a couple of times because I don't want to get into bad habits. But it's almost like a traffic assist in a way, where you kind of can just let the vehicle do its thing. And I know it's not safe to do that. It just builds bad habits. But it is kind of impressive that Lexus has used a safety system which almost mimics autonomous driving, which I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess. So we've officially hit the 25-mile mark on this 100-mile round trip, and I'm currently averaging 38.7 miles per gallon. It has been fluctuating, so I've seen as high as 39.5, which either way we're overachieving on this test, which, to be honest, with this being a hybrid and with this being the Lexus NX350h, this was all a mere formality. But still though, to get close to 40 miles per gallon on the highway for this model, it's saying quite a bit here. Usually hybrids don't perform well on the highway. Now, also one more thing I want to talk about. I want to redo the sound decibel meter because I don't think it's inaccurate. I think it is louder in here, especially with the large tires on this model. We're on a bit more of a quieter tarmac here. Let's test this out once again because I wasn't too happy with the numbers I was getting there. So as you can see, it says 68.3. So that seems to be the number. So what we were getting a couple miles back, long before we got that really bad stretch of road, 68.3 or 68 decibels seems to be the accurate number there, which again would be not too far off that accurate ADX. So I was expecting a bit more of a quieter cabin, but the ear test tells me one thing, the decibel meter says quite the opposite there. So I think the larger tires are playing around with the interior insulation. And to be quite honest, and I've said this before in the full review, that just going with the premium would make more sense. You save $10,000 compared to the model that we have today at 60 grand. And I think that would be the better choice, especially if you're someone trying to maximize your budget, save some money at the pump. I think that would be the smarter choice. Going with the F-Sport, yes, it's fun. It's enjoyable to drive on a back road, but you kind of pay for it in certain areas. You pay for it with the pricing, and then also, I think, with the interior insulation. These large tires are just not cutting it. They look great, but they're just not cutting it for a test like this, or if you're looking for an isolating cabin when you are commuting to work or going on longer road trips. Okay, so we have made it to the halfway point, averaging almost an even 40 miles per gallon. To put that into perspective, 40 times 14.5 is going to be 580 miles on a full tank if you're going on the highway. If we're receiving 40 miles per gallon on the highway, you could probably get maybe 45 miles per gallon in the city, and now you're looking at around 600 miles on a full tank. That's where hybrids make a lot of sense. Even though this particular hybrid I don't get. I actually don't get it in the lineup because at $60,000 for our model, It would be better served just buying a RAV4 hybrid. You could save yourself probably $20,000, get a vehicle that's more practical, decently sized, and also probably just as efficient, if not better than what we have here with this Lexus NX350h. I will say though, the fact that it is the F Sport and it's sports tuned, it is going to be fun and exhilarating to drive on a winding back road. To me, this vehicle is a bit interesting because there are times where you kind of get that full gas powered experience out of the Lexus NX350h, and then when you're on throttle, it reminds you, yeah, you have that ECVT. But so far, throughout my week with this vehicle, I've been thoroughly impressed. I think it's a good crossover. It's just that I'm having a hard time justifying the price at $60,000. That's why I've been saying throughout the entire week and in my full review, it'll be better just going with the premium. The premium comes in $50,000. You get that luxurious experience, that luxurious interior, but you're not breaking the bank. And best of all, you're also getting that efficiency as well. So this crossover, even though it is aging, you can see that with the design and the platform that it is underpinned by, still a pretty good vehicle in 2026. So now that we are ready to set off on the second half of this trip, we got to go over one more guideline for this test, and that's going to be one click. Everyone knows the rules. What that means is when we go to the gas station, we just do one click. I know some people do different methods, but with this, we're just trying to get somewhat of an accurate reading. We're not trying to be super scientific here. Just want to get a general idea as to what we can expect here out of any vehicle we test. And if we can get anywhere close to 40 miles per gallon on the highway when we're going northbound, that's pretty impressive. So as I normally do on these fuel economy runs, I give you guys my final thoughts and takes on the vehicle I am testing as a final send-off. This week, I feel like I said everything I wanted to about the NX350h. My attention is geared more towards luxury hybrid crossovers and just luxury hybrid vehicles in general, because I think they're an oxymoron. And the NX350h, I've reviewed before, a couple of years ago, when I worked with dealerships. And I thought it was an okay crossover. I thought it was pretty good because with it being an F Sport, it was fun to drive, fun handling. But with the hybrid powertrain, it takes so much away from what this vehicle should be. Because I would prefer the 2.4 liter turbo with the F Sport, the adaptive dampers, right? Should be far more fun and enjoyable and obviously engaging. When you're looking at buying something like this at around $45,000 to $60,000, you might want that interior comfort, that interior refinement, but you also want some fun. And by dropping in a hybrid powertrain, you take away some of that. Sure, on winding back roads, when it's in EV mode, you can really enjoy this vehicle. You can hustle it in the corners, great handling. But on the highway, when you're accelerating, it's a bit weird. Because on the highway, it just does not perform well at all. I mean, you're looking at 0 to 60 times of around 7.2 seconds. That's slow. But when you're in the city, off the line, it accelerates pretty aggressively. And then between 30 and 50 miles an hour is its sweet spot. Really likes that particular speed limit. But it's gotten me thinking, if I'm buying a $60,000 crossover like we have here with this F Sport model, do I really care about fuel efficiency? And if I did, wouldn't I look elsewhere? Wouldn't I not go for a sports-tuned vehicle? And with the NX350, it's built on the RAV4 platform, last generation's RAV4 platform, and that RAV4 is fuel efficient, it's decently sized, far more practical, and far more cheaper. You're not spending $60,000 for that RAV4. And that's what I just don't get about luxury hybrid vehicles. You know, some manufacturers do a pretty good job of making their hybrids kind of drive like a conventional vehicle with an internal combustion engine. But Toyota and Lexus tend not to do that. They do a great job with the interior comfort and the luxury features, but the driving experience is often dumbed down. And that's what's kind of worn on me with this NX350, that as a daily commuter, as a point A to point B vehicle, it's great. But in this particular configuration for this trim, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it at $60,000. I don't get the appeal. And, you know, with the NX350, the hybrid sells about 50% of the units here in the US. 66% for hybrid and plug-in hybrid. So most people are looking for the efficiency, and I think they're not choosing the F Sport, they're choosing the premium most likely. And out of a luxury vehicle, I want to have that fun. I want to have that enjoyment and that engagement. And hybrids tend to take that away. So I get the fuel efficiency, I get all of that, and getting those type of intangibles. But I also want a vehicle that performs like a luxury crossover, and this performs like a Toyota. And just with this being the NX350, it's a hot hatch, and because of that, at $60,000, you'd be better served buying something from BMW, Audi, or Mercedes-Benz. That's just my thoughts here, and that would be my thoughts for all hybrids, so I hope that Lexus executives don't look at this video and say, oh, he hates our product, like this is a negative review. No, it's just that hybrids to me just don't make sense at this price point, because if you really care about efficiency, you probably also care about the price. And Toyota can give you that. Toyota has a wide selection of hybrids. But any mainstream manufacturer can do the same. We're seeing it with Kia, we're seeing it with Hyundai, we're seeing it with Honda. And at this particular price point, I want more. I don't want an eCVT. I don't want droning. And unfortunately, that's what I'm getting here. So for me, if I was choosing a Lexus NX350, it would be the full gas-powered model with the 2.4-liter turbo, the 8-speed automatic. You get the adaptive dampers, sports tune suspension. It would be really fun to drive, even though I think this generation is getting long in the tooth, but it would be far more fun to drive than what we have here out of the H. And that would be my takeaway for any hybrid in this market. It's just that since I'm testing the NX, that's where most of my attention is drawn towards. But it's still a great vehicle overall. You know, it's a bit more well-rounded than most rivals because Lexus is really the only ones in this game that's offering a hybrid and plug-in hybrid for this particular market. But for me, out of a luxury vehicle, I want that full gas-powered model. I want that traditional automatic. So we're in the final stretch of this 100-mile round trip, 25 miles to go, and heading back at 75 miles in total, I'm averaging around 40 miles per gallon. So pretty good there, although traffic has been a bit more steady on the way back. I've noticed that when the adaptive cruise control is not on throttle, it really starts sipping up that fuel, so you get that better fuel economy. But I gotta be honest, you know, compared to the last hybrid we had featured, which was the Kia Telluride, the Telluride did not overperform. It actually underachieved its numbers on the highway slightly. And I have the AC on. It's 90 degrees out at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I have it on, I have my ventilated seats on, and I'm still averaging around 40 miles per gallon. You know, that's pretty good there. So I do think that if you're buying this for the fuel efficiency, you might see the numbers improve over time. And also, if you're driving in the city and suburbs, you could probably see over 42 miles per gallon. So that's really good there. The efficiency alone is a great selling point. It's just that, what I said before, I'm going to stand by because I just don't get it. I don't get spending $60,000 for a vehicle like this for the fuel efficiency. You want the performance, you want the luxury, and you're not getting the performance even with the F-Sport. But I've said that way too much today, so I'm going to stand by that. But if the fuel economy is good, that's pretty great to see. All right, we're pulling into the gas station, and somehow, we got better fuel economy going northbound for the second half of the trip. 41 miles per gallon? Are you kidding me? One click, everyone knows the rules. All right, so now it is time to do some math. 100 divided by 2.465 equals 40.5 miles per gallon. Now, for those of you who have questioned this fuel method that we do, the one-click method. We got 40 miles per gallon on the way down, all right, so 40, and then basically we got 41 heading back. So 40 plus 41 equals 81. Divide that by 2 is 40.5 miles per gallon. Now, obviously, we could be off by a couple decimal points, but still, at 40.5 miles per gallon, that's pretty good. Let's multiply 40.5 by 14.5, and that will equal just under 600 miles on a full tank going on the highway. That's pretty good here at the Lexus NX. Now, I would love to actually do a city test. I don't have enough time to do that with this NX350, but still, 600 miles on a full tank, that's where hybrids make sense. This is where hybrids are a better choice over EVs, because most EVs are going to be right around 300. So you're doubling that with the range. I got to say, I'm pretty happy here with this particular test with the NX350h. But let me know what you think here about this crossover. You already know my thoughts on the vehicle itself, not the fact that it's a hybrid. But would you choose a Lexus NX350h for your next daily driver? Let me know in the comment section below. But guys, once again, thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you guys next time.